2 years ago, Angie, ever the optimist, and I, forever the cynic, finally wrestled a house from the jaws of corporate vultures. It wasn't just a dream. It was like winning a fierce battle, a prize taken from faceless entities who'd outbid us countless times, leaving us breathless in a neighborhood filled with sirens like lullabies and secrets whispered by the shadows. We settled for a fixer-upper, a decaying behemoth, a 4,500 square foot colonial haunted by the ghosts of its former glory. The scent of damp rot clung to the ornate plaster trim, its intricate designs now chipped and crumbling like ancient teeth. The hardwood floors groaned underfoot, each creak a whisper of forgotten lives. The basement loomed like a dungeon, a miasma of mildew and decay, its walls scarred with crude faces etched by unseen hands, a chilling testament to the darkness that clung to this place. The air itself tasted metallic, a lingering tang of fear. "Kids," the realtor said, a glint of mockery in his eyes, making my stomach churn. Angie, bless her delusional heart, called it a stepping stone, a temporary purgatory on the path to wealth. "We'll flip it," she asserted, her voice strained with a desperate need to believe her own lies. Despite our struggles with the house, the neighborhood presented its own challenges. Our neighbors were a study in contrasts, a patchwork of wary kindness and unsettling indifference. The nightly cacophony, the sharp crack of gunfire punctuated by the dull boom of celebratory fireworks, became a grim symphony, its discordant notes etching themselves into our very souls. The alleyways, choked with the reeking detritus of neglect, were a testament to the casual cruelty of the world. And then there were them, the homeless, their gaunt faces etched with suffering, their silent presence a constant, gnawing reminder of our own precariousness. I offered a greeting, a nod, a hesitant smile, pitifully inadequate gestures against the vast indifference that surrounded us. The house, our house, quickly became a paradox, a sanctuary and a prison, a haven and a hunting ground for fear. We were home, yes, but never truly at ease. The air thrummed with a low, almost imperceptible vibration of unease, a constant hum beneath the surface of our forced serenity. The very walls seemed to breathe, to watch, to wait. The kitchen's stale air hung thick with the scent of dish soap and a prickling dread that had nothing to do with the greasy popcorn bowl in my hands. My reflection, a pale ghost in the greasy window pane, was dwarfed by the inky blackness pressing against the glass. The woods beyond were a suffocating void, but something, a jagged obsidian splinter, cut through the darkness. A shadow, impossibly tall, rigid as a tombstone. My breath hitched, fogging the glass as I leaned closer. It wasn't the familiar silhouette of oak or juniper. This was a man. He stood poised at the edge of the concealing bushes, a predator observing its prey. The bowl shattered, the ceramic shards a frantic echo of the terror seizing me. "Honey? Everything all right?" Angie's voice, muffled from the living room, felt miles away. "Fine," I choked out, the lie tasting like ash. "Just taking the trash out." The night air clawed at me as I stepped onto the porch, each breath a ragged gasp. He remained, a dark monolith barely visible through the thrashing branches. "Hello?" My voice, a pathetic squeak, betrayed me. "This is private property. Leave." The motion sensor light blazed, painting him in stark, horrific detail. He loomed like a titan, easily 6'8", his face a gaunt mask wrapped in shadows, bisected by a livid white scar that snaked gruesomely across his throat. His heavy coat, the color of a crow's wing, draped him like a shroud, exaggerating his already monstrous size. "What do you want?" I demanded, the bravado a thin veneer cracking under the weight of his gaze. He extended a hand, a skeletal claw offering, a tiny, empty pill capsule. My heart hammered against my ribs. You want me to take this? A slight nod. Then he opened his mouth, a ragged, bloody stump where his tongue should have been. His eyes, vast and black, burned into me as he silently mouthed words, a silent scream trapped behind broken flesh. I stumbled back, the fear of physical weight crushing me. Please, just go. He turned, melting back into the shadows with an unnerving speed. The bushes seemed to sigh in his wake, their leaves whispering secrets I didn't want to hear. As dawn broke, questions about the giant from the yard clawed at my throat, leaving a bitter taste. I asked about the man, the giant, his shadow still imprinted on my memory. The whispers that slithered through the alleyways preceded me. Homeless men, their eyes hollowed pits in faces etched with years of hard living, flinched away, their heads shaking like condemned puppets. The stench of stale urine and despair clung to them, mirroring the silence that choked my inquiry. Then, two figures, hunched over a sputtering engine at the end of a weed-choked driveway, their greasy hands stained the color of rust, offered a glimpse into the abyss. One, a man whose face was a road map of wrinkles and hard living, raised a skeptical eyebrow, the movement slow and deliberate, like a coiled snake. Tall Frank, you mean? What the hell did he want with you? His voice, gravelly and low, scraped against the afternoon's humid stillness. The smell of motor oil and fear hung heavy in the air. I don't know, I managed, a tremor in my voice. The image of his gaunt face, the unsettling stillness in his eyes flashed before me. He was in my yard, trying to give me something. Their laughter, brittle and sharp like breaking glass, died in their throats. A cold dread seeped into my bones. Tall Frank don't talk. Not anymore. Slit his own throat years ago. Made damn sure of it. They spoke of him in hushed tones, their words painting a picture of a neighborhood phantom. Decades he'd haunted these streets, a scavenger living off discarded cans, a creature of shadows until the nightmarish revelation of his self-inflicted wound. The rumors, poisonous and varied, lingered like the stench of decay, casting a shadow over our lives. Tall Frank became more than just a specter. He was a mirror reflecting our fears and the darkness beneath the surface of this neighborhood. This haunting figure tied my fate to a place where survival blended with horror. Buzzed around his jagged scar. A dog attack. A failed suicide attempt. A ritualistic marking. The air thickened with unspoken fears, each unanswered question a fresh cut on my heart. What did he want with me? My voice was barely a breath. They shrugged, their movements devoid of any real emotion, only weariness. Can't say, but if he picked you, there's a reason, a damn good one. The unspoken threat hung between us, heavier than the humid air, heavier than the guilt of a past that I had unknowingly touched. Each day bled into the next, a relentless crimson tide marked only by the throbbing in my skull and the erratic hammering of my heart. Tall Frank's presence, a grotesque phantom, clung to me, a miasma of dread that coated my tongue with the taste of ash. The aches in my bones felt like the gnawing of unseen things. The ER beckoned, a siren's call I fought to ignore, choking down the terror with the bitter tang of denial. Stress, I told myself, my voice a thin, reedy whisper against the growing storm within. Then the night unfurled, black and suffocating. Angie, lost in the labyrinth of her late-night work, left me to the shadows. And there he was, Tall Frank, a monolith against the bruised purple of the twilight, his silhouette etched against the menacing ink-black woods. The scent of damp earth and decaying leaves filled my nostrils, sharp and acrid, a prelude to the horror to come. "You!" I screamed. The word ripped from my lungs, a raw, desperate sound. The adrenaline surged, a white-hot fire in my veins, pushing me out into the night, a desperate, reckless gambit. "What the hell do you want?" His scarred neck, a road map of past violence, tilted slightly, a grotesque invitation. The silence that followed was thick enough to choke on, broken only by the frantic thump of my own heart, a frantic drumbeat against the encroaching darkness. He led me, a silent, ominous guide, past the whispering bushes, their leaves like skeletal fingers reaching out to grasp me. The alley reeked of stale urine and despair, the air heavy with the weight of secrets and impending doom. He stopped before a crumbling retaining wall, the cold stone seeping into my very being. His hand, enormous and calloused, emerged from his coat, offering 2 envelopes. I snatched them, a feral, desperate act. The first, a sodden, decaying testament to betrayal. The words, blurred and water-stained, swam before my eyes, but the chilling essence seeped through the damage. Angie's handwriting, a confession of love whispered to another man. The paper tasted of bitter regret as I felt the cold, sickening realization bloom in my chest. The second envelope, crisp, clean, official. The stark white of the Atlantic Life Insurance letterhead mocked me. The stark figures, $250,000, my life insurance policy, a death sentence scrawled in elegant script. My hands shook, the blood draining from my face. The truth slammed into me, a physical blow. "Angie, she's trying to kill me?" The words felt both accusatory and utterly hopeless. Tall Frank remained silent, a statue of grim understanding. His hand, impossibly large, settled on my shoulder. It wasn't comforting, not really. It was something else, a chilling acknowledgement, a heavy weight of shared knowledge, of impending doom. The bedroom light snapped on, a harsh white glare that revealed Angie silhouetted against the rain-streaked window. The metallic glint of something in her hand, a tiny, wicked-looking device, caught my eye before she crushed it into a chipped mug, the sound sickeningly soft. The acrid scent of burnt almonds filled the air, a smell that clung to the back of my throat like a phantom cough. Moments later, a groan, like a death rattle, emanated from the back door. "Honey?" Angie's voice, a honeyed blade, sliced through the night. "I made you some special tea." The emphasis on the last word sent a fresh wave of nausea through me. She knew. She always knew. I spun to Tall Frank, the name a cruel joke considering his stooped frame and the haunted gleam in his eyes. My voice, a strangled whisper, rasped, "Why the hell are you doing this? For what?" He didn't answer, his silence a crushing weight. Instead, he melted into the suffocating darkness, a wraith vanishing into the alley's reeking embrace. I clutched the envelopes, the paper brittle under my trembling fingers, each one a testament to a life teetering on the edge. I didn't answer Angie. Couldn't. From the shadows of the alley, I watched her appear on the porch, bathed in the sickly yellow light of the kitchen. Her shadow stretched long and distorted. A grotesque puppet show played out against the warped wood of the porch. Sometimes, the whispers of the ignored carve the deepest wounds, and sometimes, salvation crawls out of the deepest, darkest fear, its breath stinking of blood and betrayal. And so, another tale from the Reddit abyss draws to a close, but remember,
the shadows never truly fade. They're simply waiting for the next story.
Subscribe now and join us in the darkness.
Because you never know. The next tale could be yours.